every large tech monopoly has come out and said that they're launching a Clubhouse copycat. Facebook, Spotify, Twitter, now it's a $4 billion company. And it's raised $300 million more in the past few months. Good for them on securing the bag quick. There's been so much talk about Clubhouse. I've gone on Clubhouse. We've covered some stories with Clubhouse. I've covered what Clubhouse is on the show when it was first kind of popping off earlier this year. If you don't know what Clubhouse is, it's basically like a audio content platform, social network. It's live, right? So it's like live radio, but for the 21st century with social networks, right? So you can kind of see who all your friends are. They did a really good job gating access, so you had to be invited in. And, they built some kind of exclusivity around this and got the right kind of tech elite into the app early. So you could just join a room and listen live to prominent people. Elon has been on there multiple times. Elon was on there with Vlad from Robinhood, right? Fireworks, but there's no recall feature, right? It's only live. So when you want to listen to Elon talk to Vlad, you go listen to that on YouTube, not on Clubhouse. So there's some aspects with it, which I think just from a user experience and a product standpoint, maybe those things are on the roadmap to be changed. I don't know. But that's why these numbers make sense to me, is because I think, you had this insane, look at this, 9.5 million downloads in February down to 2.7 million downloads in March. I mean, it's not like the downloads have disappeared. They're not even in the six figures. But the point of this is, wow, that's a pretty big drop. What's going on with Clubhouse? It had 2.4 million downloads in January. So it went 2.4, 9.6 down to 2.7. In that period of time, they have basically ruffled the feathers of every large tech monopoly. Literally, every large tech monopoly has come out and said that they are launching a Clubhouse copycat. Facebook has unveiled a new suite of audio products in just the past week here. Spotify is getting into live audio. This is from late March. Twitter is allegedly held discussions for $4 billion to buy Clubhouse. That is the valuation that Clubhouse has been or has been referenced to Clubhouse in them raising money. The good news for them is that they did something which Meerkat did not do. And so if anyone doesn't remember Meerkat is, or was, now today it's known as House Party. And it's actually a pretty cool app. Meerkat sprang to popularity in a somewhat similar way around live video streaming. This was back in 2015. So the app came out in February 2015. It rose to popularity on Product Hunt, which now is owned by AngelList. And then South by Southwest in March of 2015, it just, boom, took off, right? Through the roof usage, downloads, everything. Now, Clubhouse has been able to raise $300 million. Yeah, you heard that right. They've raised $300 million in the past 3 months. Yeah. Are the markets acting a little weird? Do you think anyone thinks there might be inflation coming on $300 million in 3 months? At most recently, so they raised $100 million in January at a $1 billion valuation. That's the post money, so 900 pre-billion dollar post. So 10% dilution. Then they raised $200 million at a $4 billion valuation just this past week in April. Yikes. Okay. Now, so 10% dilution for $100 million, 5% dilution for $200 million. Now, granted, they went from 2.4 to almost 10 million downloads month over month. Yes, now it's back down to 2.7. Still, not bad numbers by any stretch of the imagination. Put it in comparison, they had a $100 million valuation in May of last year. So the company is maybe like 15 months old. Their seed round was in January of 2020. We all know what happened then. COVID hit. They raised $10, $12 million in the summer of last year. Call it $80, $100 million valuation. Now it's a $4 billion company. And it's raised $300 more million in the past few months. Wow. Good for them. The lesson learned there from Meerkat is that Meerkat only pulled down a $12 million round when they really popped off. And then what happened with Meerkat, because Meerkat had a really good like social hack to give you notifications, like, and then they were doing it through Twitter, if I recall, and then Twitter shut down that functionality. They were growth hacking some of the social media platforms, I think Twitter especially. And then Twitter started to throttle that. And then Twitter went to go buy Periscope. And way back machine here. They bought Periscope for $100 million, which is basically a Meerkat, basically copycat competitor, live video streaming platform similar to Meerkat. So instead of Twitter going after who is the leader, they got Periscope, $100 million. So anyway, Meerkat ultimately pivoted to being called House Party, tweaking some of the model behind it, but ultimately has lived on, but it lost that crazy hockey stick growth. It just wasn't able to sustain it and become a modern monopoly. And then it got copycatted, or other companies bought similar companies. And so, now you see this same thing happening. All the tech monopolies coming after Clubhouse. Clubhouse, good for them on securing the bag quick. $300 million in 3 months, basically. Good for them to secure that while they can. And then, see what happens, because now you got every tech monopoly trying to come after you to compete. Literally, everyone is doing something now with live audio streaming. This was a nice release, right? Hey, it's audio only. There is no video. You can be out going for a walk. You can be out, living your life and still be chit-chatting about tech and political events and all these kinds of things that, the Twitter elite, the tech elite like to do. Will it last, right? And where is Spotify in all of this? I think that's the interesting piece of all of this is, Spotify has been making huge investments the past few years on what they're doing with podcasting. They also bought this company called Betty Labs. And that's Locker Room is their live audio streaming platform, really focused around sports. So different than the kind of like tech elite political conjecture, that arena, which is really the Clubhouse. Locker Room, more on sports. To me, Spotify is so well positioned to go after this. And I think that's my biggest question mark as it relates to the Clubhouse product is when you go on to these Clubhouse rooms, it's you and a couple other people, you and a few other people talking about a topic. Look at what's going on with shows just like this one, right? It's live. We have guests on the show. To me, there's such a strong parallel of this business and this content has already been created, is already being created by so many people, by so many creators with shows with much bigger followings than this one. And again, as we've seen with any of these kind of content platform user generated content plays, you got to lock in that supply because you can get the demand, but how do you keep the demand engaged? You got to bring the supply. You got to bring that good content to the forefront. And you can't just go out and buy it. Now, Spotify has done some of that with Joe Rogan and other marquee producers for podcasting. So anyway, that's why I really like Spotify's positioning. I think they've been, in this space for a while. I think Clubhouse is in a race to capture supply and keep supply locked in. How can they lower some of these barriers to entry around supply and still keep that demand interested in coming back and finding, other conversations, even if it means the Clubhouse needs to change the model or not wholesale change the model, but you can innovate on the product. You don't have to be stuck around saying, you can't get historical Clubhouse feeds. It's tough. It's purely live. And unless you find something right there and you got to scroll through it. Yeah, I don't know. All right. I think it needs some serious heavy product innovation and quick. Otherwise, yeah, I think they get swallowed or they get beaten. I don't know. We'll see. Good news is they got a boatload of cash to try and figure it out, but it's a race against time. Hi, I'm Alex. Thanks for watching the show. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, but even better, make sure to follow us on Odyssey, follow us on Rumble, and text us 203-646-5159. Text the word Monopoly. You'll be subscribed. You'll get updates about when we're going live, our latest videos, and we'll send you even a little goodie bag. And in the event that we all get banned from big tech, we'll still be connected.